So I'm Gabriella Febiola, and I know Seributujuan from your live interview with Nazia, because Nazia was my high school friend. So I had a driver when I was in elementary school until I was about my last year in junior high. But during my puberty times, you can say from like fifth grade until at least the last year of my junior high, he started touching me inappropriately because, like my parents were kind of busy working when I was growing up. So even up to this day, you can still hear the crack in my voice because it still affects me. I never really talk about it until at least last year to public, because I feel like I needed the help, and I feel like it's important for people to know that it's okay to tell your story, and it's okay to be hurting still about the past that haunts you. Obviously, it's a nightmare, But I told my parents about it when I was feeling like super down and I didn't know what to do. Obviously, as a child, you didn't know, You didn't know that you need to seek for help. So you just kind of, like it's going to go away. Like if I keep repressing whatever happened to me, maybe it would feel like it never happened. I looked for my mom and my dad. There was a time where I felt like I was in denial,
Yeah.
and I felt like I needed to blame everybody else for what happened to me instead of blaming the person who actually did it to me.
Yeah.
So I was really angry at my parents, and I thought to myself, if you guys weren't that busy working, then maybe I shouldn't have, experienced all of that things that happened to me. But then again, it's just a phase of like really looking for answers, I guess. And after that, I just went for family counseling with my parents, like everything that we did to stick together as a family. We went to church, obviously. I know that it sounds really cliche, like you go to church and you pray, but I think that's what our parents understand, I guess, about the whole situation. Like you just need to go back to God when I feel like actually you need real support, like from therapists or like, psychologists, to make sure that your mental health is okay. But yeah, that's how I managed to push through, I guess. Not until last year that I actually saw a psychiatrist when I was still back in New Zealand. But yeah, I feel like at first, they were really shocked that it could happen to their family member, like they never thought that something like that could happen to me, because the driver was actually had been working for my mom even before I was born. So it was like more like a family friend.
Yeah.
And they didn't think that they could do something like that, Other than shocked, I feel like it's really, really shaking them as well to the core. As much as it shook me, it also shook them to receive that kind of news.
Yeah.
And they also, I feel now that I'm grown up, I feel like they didn't know what to do either,
Yeah.
They were trying to help me, but they just didn't know how. And I was just a big bag of exploding emotions because I didn't know how to take it as well. For people who say that, I wish you knew how much strength that it takes us to even be able to speak out. Because it's obviously something really personal, and you just don't want to tell people, hey, like I'm just abused or I'm just assaulted by this man for yada yada yada. I think people really need to get an understanding of why we chose to keep it to ourselves, because when we speak out or when we speak up, it's I can say it's probably like 4 out of 10 people who would actually believe you and try to help you.
Yeah.
And the 6 other would probably say something really negative about it. Oh, which means like she's not a virgin anymore because she's been assaulted, or like she's been abused, that kind of negative stigma.
Mhm.
Or, oh, she just does that to seek for attention, or she just wants us to pay more attention to her and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that's something that you should probably keep aside if you want us to speak up and speak out as soon as that happens, because I feel like the girls in our generations are legitimately thought to keep everything to yourself unless it's comfortable for your family or your close ones. I do believe so, because sex education obviously is not going to encourage especially teenagers to have sex, but I think it does quite the opposite. I feel like when you actually understand what sex is, and the consequences that you're willing to make to actually have intimate moments with the person that you choose, I think it is mandatory. And I feel like if you do have that understanding, you would be able to see the bigger picture. Okay, if I choose to have sex with my partner, what if she gets pregnant? And this is the consequences that she has to face if she gets pregnant at a really young age. And I think, obviously, as teenagers, we are very curious about the whole new, puberty stuff. But if you have that education, you will know exactly what sex is. Obviously, you would want to know how it feels like, right? And I think that's why, if you don't have that education, you would actually try it on someone without their consent, because you don't understand the meaning of consent itself. You don't understand the difference between having sex when someone actually wants it as well, or you're raping them. I think, I don't know what's taking so long, because obviously I don't really understand the legal side of it. Obviously, it's something that needs to be officially, agreed by the government or whatnot. But I feel like it's just been long overdue. It's something that could protect the survivors, but there's really nothing that makes them feel safe to speak up or speak out. And those predators out there, they feel like they could do something like that and not receiving any consequences towards their actions. And I feel like it's something really important for women, for men, for kids, for whoever, because let's be clear, like, sexual abuse and sexual assault can happen to anyone at any time. And if there's any witness included, I don't think there would be sexual abuse or assault, right?
Yeah.
It usually happens at the time where it's very quiet, or when there's no one, and the only person that this authority can trust is us versus them.
Yeah.
And with no certain law, I think it's just floating somewhere. Like, do I trust the survivor? Do I trust the perpetrator? I don't know, because there's no law about it. So it's such a shame that something big like this, that could really break someone from their very core, can just be something that's normal or, common. That nothing that we could do as a society to help this survivor. And that's just such a shame, obviously. I want them to know that they're not alone, and they've been really strong. I know that it probably feels like it's the end of the world, or you feel like you have no hope anymore, but trust me, like, it might feel like the most terrifying thing to do, but as soon as you talk about your problem, and the more you talk about it, it's just gonna be a little bit relieving. It's not gonna get better like that, but it's gonna make you feel a lot less burdened.
Yeah.
And Yeah, and just find your support system. It doesn't have to be a lot of people. You can just choose one or two that you really trust. And, until you are ready to tell your story, just take your time, and it's really okay not to be okay. And being vulnerable is really brave. So thank you for being strong, I guess. Thanks, guys, for watching this video. I hope you learned a thing or two from our conversation today, and I hope you know that sexual abuse or assault is never okay, and it's okay to actually talk about it, because there's people like us who actually relate with you. So subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and don't forget to like and comment, share with us what you think, or maybe if you have another ideas of what we should do to raise more awareness around this issue, you're more than welcome, because the team at Seributujuan and at Reprodukasi will be more than happy to receive that. So yeah, there's that, and thanks for watching.